Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I am an alcoholic, and today I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I cannot be any more grateful. Ladies, if you're local to the Huntington, West Virginia area tonight, I want to encourage you to go down and hang out at Point Cafe at 7 o'clock. At 630 8th Avenue in Huntington, West Virginia, at Point Cafe, 7 o'clock. Drenda will be hosting the Ladies Only Crosstalk meeting. It's always a good time. Go down tonight, hang out with her, Deb, and the others. They always come back and tell us how much fun it is, and we're just like, you can't say that because we're not allowed to go. You can't tell us how much fun you guys have, because we're guys. So tonight, 7 o'clock. Also, if you're local to the Huntington, West Virginia area, the Miracles Group will be beginning their 12 Steps to Freedom workshop beginning Wednesday, April 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. And it'll happen. It's a 6-week course. It happens every Wednesday night starting April 2nd from 6 to 8. They take you through all 12 steps of recovery of the program of action known as Alcoholics Anonymous. It's not a replacement for your step work with your sponsor, but it does give you a lot of in-depth knowledge and insight into each of the 12 steps individually and how you can best leverage those steps on your own path through recovery. So if you're interested, reach out to one of us here at the Recovery Classroom. We'll get you in touch with the people that you need to be in touch with. So I was in a meeting last night, and the topic was brought up, isolation. And I was like, man, that's a really good topic. And I immediately thought back to my own personal history, my own personal experience, and how I isolated. We got to understand that our disease is a slow and progressive disease. I wasn't born, and when the doctor or the nurse put a bottle in my hand, I didn't say, oh, I don't want this bottle, I want that bottle of Wild Turkey, right? I wasn't born as an alcoholic immediately, an active alcoholic. It took time. It was slow and progressive. My isolation, as I'm thinking about this topic last night, I realized my isolation was slow and progressive. It occurred over time. See, the very first time I remember isolating was because I just didn't want to get caught drinking. Like it was a bad thing, right? And I don't want my wife to catch me. I don't want my kids to see me. I didn't want to get caught. And then I progressed from that to, well, I didn't want to have to worry about fitting in. I'd isolate because I didn't want to have to worry about fitting in. See, I didn't feel like I fit in anyway. I didn't feel like I could provide any value or meaning to the conversation or definitely not to people's lives. And so I would just isolate because that way I didn't have to worry about fitting in at all. Hell, I fit in with myself, right? I could fit in with myself. I then progressed again to the point where I started isolating because I didn't want to show weakness. I was successful in this part of my life and I was successful in that part of my life, but I just wasn't successful here. And that was a sign of weakness. I don't want people to see that. I wanted people to pay attention to my success here and over here, but not here. It was a sign of weakness, a demonstration of my weakness. And I don't want people to see that. So I started isolating because I didn't want to show that I was vulnerable. And I started isolating, progressed on to that, where I just finally started isolating because, well, I didn't want to feel rejection. I couldn't accept who I was, who I had become, knowing that I'd become addicted to alcohol. I couldn't accept that. And so I knew damn well nobody else in the world was going to accept me as an alcoholic. Nobody else was going to accept me for the stupid shit that I would do as an alcoholic. I couldn't accept me, and so I knew other people weren't going to accept me. So for me, I just continued to isolate because that way I didn't have to worry about rejection. See, my self-esteem and my self-value and self-worth, it was so low anyway. Matter of fact, it was below low. That's how low self-esteem I had. And so I didn't have to worry about any more rejection. I didn't have to worry about taking another hit to my self-esteem. And that was one of the final reasons that I isolated. And ultimately, the last reason why in which I isolated, and this is a big one, is because I didn't have a choice. I no longer had a choice but to isolate. See, I couldn't function as a human being. I couldn't function as I couldn't walk to my mailbox without being short of breath. I couldn't remember to pay my bills because I was always drunk. I would miss critical appointments and meetings because I was blasted in my brain. I isolated because I didn't have a choice because I'd forgotten how to function. Fortunately, when I came into the rooms of recovery, when I came into the rooms specifically of Alcoholics Anonymous, at least for me, I learned the opposite of isolate. I learned community. I learned contact, alliance. I learned how to function, and all those things, all those reasons and phases of my isolation I talked about. The common thread there was I didn't know how to love me. I didn't know who I was. I knew nothing about me. It was like I isolated. The more I isolated, I tried to isolate from myself because I didn't know who I was. But coming into the rooms, I learned, like I said, I learned the opposite of isolation. I learned love, I learned community, and I learned, most importantly, how to start looking at myself and learning to love myself once again. And because of that, coming into the room, coming into the fellowship, and joining with like-minded people, having regularly scheduled meetings. You can call them meetings. We call them meetings. We can call them whatever you want. But it's basically just a group of drunks and drug addicts who we all share similar interests, definitely a common problem. We just get together and talk. And that's where I learned I no longer had to isolate. Even today, I'll run into a problem. Matter of fact, I'm just coming out of one right now, where I started to isolate. Now, I isolated for different reasons. I isolated because I needed to do some soul searching, if you will. I needed to do some 10-step work, right? But even now, though, I still knew that I had that community behind me. There's people who were still cheering me on, and that's the joy and the miracle that I found coming into the Rooms of Recovery. So with that being said, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys absolutely keep me sober, and I cannot be any more appreciative. If there's a topic you'd like to hear discussed on these morning monologues, feel free to drop it into an email to me, Drew, D-R-E-W, at recoveryclassroom.org. I'll take a look at it, see what we can do. We'll be talking again soon, guys. Remember, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.